Hi, everyone. It's noon, so I think we'll get started here. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kathy Schmitz, Executive Director of the Vilas County Economic Development Corporation. And today we're here for our Lunch and Learn the benefits of selling online and how it can grow your business. And this is all from expert advice from three fabulous business leaders who have all done it themselves. First, Andrea or Andy Gretzinger, a business consultant with UW Stevens Point Small Business Development Center, and who on the side runs her own small business, Northwood Blooms Wood Flowers. Second, we welcome Tom and Sarah Zidek, co-owners of Hooked and Tagged, a lifestyle brand business, and who also own Northern Joy, a home goods store in downtown Eagle River. Before we begin, we extend our special thanks, as always, to Associated Bank for their generous support of this program and who support our mission to build a strong, resilient Northwoods economy. And so what questions do you have for Andy, Tom, and Sarah? Please put them in the chat and we'll answer them right after their remarks. And so Andy, we'll start with you. Take it away.
Awesome. Hello there. I'm happy to be here and represent my two sides. I'm a SBDC business consultant for our Northwoods region out of UW Stevens Point, and I'm a small business owner myself as well. So I'm going to do a little sharing of my screen just so that we have some visuals to refer to. I'm just here to talk about why it's awesome to start selling online, kind of legitimize it, maybe demystify it, kind of get rid of those fears, and talk a little bit about my journey and what we do here at the SBDC. The SBDC, if any of you have heard of it or have not heard of it before, we're the Small Business Development Center. We've been helping businesses start and grow for 46 years coming on next year. So it's been around longer than I have. And I'm really excited to be a part of it because I started as a SBDC client, and then I became an instructor and an ad hoc consultant. And now I'm a full-time consultant for our Northwoods region, including Vilas County. And as you can see, there's a big empty space here where we are in the Northwoods. So I grew up in Forest County, and so it means a lot to me to be the outreach Northwoods consultant for our region because we are based at most UW campuses across the state. So when you work with us, you are unlocking a regional expertise within the state and then also within America's SBDC. We are a part of the nation's SBDC as well. And I'm thrilled to bring you all sorts of resources. So we're part of an umbrella company above us, the Office of Business and Entrepreneurship. We call it OBE. There are tons of acronyms in our world: VCEDC, SBDC, like SBA. There's tons of letters. And so, of course, everything has its letters, but there's 4 units underneath that umbrella of the Office of Business and Entrepreneurship. And so the SBDC works with small businesses, which technically is any business that has 500 employees or less, which is a lot of small businesses in Wisconsin, most of them. And so we're thrilled to be that arm, that partner to work and reach out to those business owners. We do things like help you get financing. We can help you launch or grow your business. We can determine if your idea to start or to pivot or to scale or to switch is feasible. We can assist you with data and research and just grow your existing business through strategic planning or marketing or just the one-to-one consulting with an outside perspective. And the way that we do that is through one-to-one confidential consulting. So I can work with you over a screen like this, or I can come up to Vilas County and we do confidential consulting. So we can talk about proprietary products. We can talk about your actual finances. And so it just becomes a safe space with the way that our network is set up. We can help you with business planning and startup, financial management, marketing and sales growth, management, strategic planning, and finance and capital access, as can the VCEDC, which is why we partner. So they're a great local resource right in your backyard. We're a little more regional, which I'm going to touch on here. The UW Stevens Point office is based in Portage County on campus at UW Stevens Point, but we reach north all the way up for you guys. And I'm based in Lang County. So my top 4 counties, this is where I hail and where I'm from. I grew up in Forest County. I've gone to Eagle River all my life. I come to Vilas County all the time. So it's really nice to feel like home here. Kate Taylor is my counterpart. She is based in our southern 4 counties. We all share Marathon because we all know that it's a super busy, large location. And that's where Cartoon Vu hails from. She's at our Wausau campus in Marathon County. And she'll be the person who, when you work with us for any education or classes, she's typically our program specialist. So she's the one who's doing the outreach and the connections. And our center director and Ashley, our administrative assistant, we work together to do all of our center marketing, our connections with you guys, our outreach, and just our personal strategic plan so that we can make positive economic impact, same as Kathy and all of the amazing board up north. So I am Andy Gretzinger. I am a business consultant, but I am also a business owner. So a little bit about my story is that I started as an art teacher, found an amazing medium that I loved, thought I was going to use it for my students and decided it was for me, and then created for my sister, created for some friends. More people started seeing it. They're like, can you do my wedding? Can you do this? Can you make me this? Oh, have you ever thought of this before? Oh, could you make these? And so I just kind of was like, I think I started a business. And so I decided, with the way that my life was, I really am a big proponent of let your life work for your business, not you like spend your life working for your business, right? You don't want it to be flipped around. So I want to make sure that my business serves me versus me only serving my business and kind of slaving away. So I went full time in 2020. I have 2 children. My youngest was born in 2020. I have scaled from, I like to say, from my dining room table to a 3,000 square foot commercial location. I had a small team for a while, decided that this is actually more my style because I went from teaching to entrepreneurship to now teaching entrepreneurship. And I've brought my business online and scaled organically. I haven't done much paid marketing, but rather just social media, online e-commerce, word of mouth, and all of the extra fun ways that you can get more business to you. So I'm a wood flower florist. And actually, after this meeting, I'm taking off to go do an installation at a local dental office. And I delivered some flowers for parents' night for the swimming team. So I still do a lot of flowers on the side. So I'm here as both someone who has an e-commerce business and someone who can help you with your e-commerce business through the SBDC. And I'm just kind of the big picture person here today. So we're going to talk about why e-commerce matters, some different myths and different things that we can talk about to kind of get our bases covered and our foundation there. As you guys know, customers expect to shop online, and it's kind of the difference between being discovered or being overlooked. Someone's going to find you on Facebook or on social media, and they're going to be like, oh, cool, I want to go to their website. And it's great when you have an online presence via website, not just a social media, not just a marketplace platform, but it also is going to be a way for you to legitimize yourself, right? It's going to be a way for them to say, oh, they're real. Oh, they're serious. Oh, I can just get this right now. Cool. I'm going to do that. And it really provides some growth opportunities and cost savings because you can expand without actually expanding your footprint. It's just another way to get some revenue in. So the biggest myths a lot of times are that you have to be a tech expert, you have to be a big business. And I think that's kind of shifted, but it's just a reminder that if you can post on Facebook, you can post on your website. Like it's that easy. There's lots of websites that have pre-built tools for you. Everything is drag and drop. You do not need to be a coder anymore. And so you do not need to be a tech expert whatsoever. And I like to say starting and being imperfect is better than not starting at all. You can always change. You can always fix it. Just start taking those little steps. It's too expensive is what a lot of people say. Like, I can't afford that per month. But when you think about the return on investment, if you pay the 35 or 39.99 or the 29.99, or some people pay over $100 a month, right? That's pretty expensive for some of us little guys. When you look at the return on investment, you will very likely be making at least that in your sales once you get your store online. Also a myth, you do not need to have 100 products to start. You don't need to be Amazon. You just need to sell one product or service and sell it well. You can always grow, but you should start with one, right? You can't start with 0, but if you just start with one single product, you can be known for something, you can be found, you can gain your SEO, and you'll do a great job. So you do not need to start with all of it and the kitchen sink. Even if you have all of it in the kitchen sink in your physical location, or you do all of the things, you don't have to make your entire business online. You just have to make your best sellers, your most profitable, the easiest to ship, right? We can talk about that in a one-to-one consult if ever needed. So getting online does give you global access. So anyone can find you at any time if you want. So that's just it, is if you don't want to sell to Australia, you do not have to sell to Australia, but you can sell where you would like to. You can turn off international shipping. They'll still be able to find you, but you don't have to sell everywhere, but you could, which is also really cool. You have the opportunity to sell as well 24/7. even though you don't have to man it 24/7. And it's possible that you can maybe have larger profit margins depending on what your product is. I found that I could sell my flowers for city prices and have country living expenses and have lower cost of goods. And so my profit margin was bigger than my friends that I made on the East Coast who are selling wood flowers. And so they're selling for a lot more. I sold for the same as them, but I'm here from Antigo, Wisconsin, and it helped my business grow faster because my cost of goods or my cost of living and operational expenses were lower. It's possible, it's not up for everybody, but you can kind of look at your own business. You can expand beyond local or seasonal demand, which is exactly why we're brought here by the VCEDC today. Remember that tourists aren't always in town. We aren't in control of the snow, who's going to come in our door. And so it's just a great way to kind of mitigate that and help your marketing bring people to you versus having to go and grab and hustle. You can have scalability without extra space, sell through multiple channels, and getting online often automates and improves efficiency. And we're going to talk about that here next. These are my favorite things that an online business can help your in-person business. If you have a POS system already, it's very likely that you're able to get some of the data and some of the automations. But if you also connect it to your online website, you're going to be able to have inventory management. A lot of people are really worried about if they go to this vendor event and they do a pop-up and they bring this, and then something sells in the store or something sells on the website, how am I going to know? And how am I going to they will all talk to each other if you set it up the right way, where you can say, oh, this just sold, pull it off, or grab it from the floor and wrap it up and get it ready for shipping. So it's going to reduce manual counts and allow you to have low stock alerts and not sell something that's already been sold online. You will have customer communication, lots of automations available there with marketing. Marketing is also going to become easier because, as you may know, when people walk into your store and you have your best customers, you're like, oh, I know your order. I know what you're going to want. Oh, how's the kids? What'd you do last weekend? You can get those insights online if you look at your data that's coming in. So you can say, who's spending time on my page? Where are they from? What are they looking at? What's their interests? It's a little creepy, but you can also kind of identify who your customers are. And it's a way for you to give them a better customer experience because you can tailor things to them. That's why they say recommended for you. You might like this. Oh, check out this next. Like you're getting personalized, automated recommendations for that business. And that's a really cool thing that gives your customers in person a similar experience online as you would when you walk in the door. And then the payment and accounting really helped me personally because I am an artist. And so I was more about making my things than I was about like going into all the data. And because I funneled all of my sales to my website, even in person, I had the POS system and I made sure everything was through my Shopify. I'm able to run reports that are accurate. I'm able to get the data because I'm putting it all into one system. And so I sound a lot more organized than I would have been if I had to do it by hand. So it's really nice to take advantage of all of those reports for accounting and for payments and making sure that you're seeing what all of your cash flow is doing and why, as long as you're using those platforms. Using your online presence will also help give you more data, which feels sometimes like a superpower. Like I was saying, you get to know all of your customers. So it's not really about just tracking it and keeping track and just knowing. It's actually about just using that then to improve. So having an online store might even help you improve your in-person relations or your local ideals because you're realizing, oh, my ideal customer is actually like this, or this group likes it when I say that. Why don't I try that for this promotion here? So you're able to, forecast, get customer feedback. It also helps with a lot of the social proof. Everyone is going to look at reviews first. So if you can have an online presence and maybe on your online store, they can rate the product, that's even better. You can do some A/B testing with an online store that you can't normally do with just in-person things. So consider testing different prices for different promotions or different designs of different things. You can say, does green work? Does yellow work? Does this font work? If I say it this way, is it better? And so your online platforms can allow you to kind of discern what the response was from those better than handwritten data from in-person sales. And then just repeating those customers and rewarding their loyalty, you're able to track them a little bit more. And that's been really great. Something that I've done in my own business was I did a customer appreciation make and take. So I do a lot of classes where I'll come to another business and I'll, teach you how to make wood flowers, or I'll teach you how to arrange them. And I wanted to expand into that, but I didn't know how. And I thought, if I just could get people to tell me what worked and what didn't work, like I'd love to just offer a class for free and get their feedback. And so that's actually what I did. I did a customer appreciation wood flower workshop at my studio, had everybody come in, and I didn't have to like go through years of, oh, when did they order and what did they do? I just went to my analytics. I said, who spent the most in my store online, and who are those people? And I got their emails and their names, and I reached out to them personally, and I was able to have the 30 people come to my wood flower workshop, gave me all sorts of great feedback, and I've done over 100 workshops since. So that was a cool way just to use my online data for an in-person event. And then shipping is the part that everyone seems to be scared of when they're like, but online, that means I have to send it. And so some of the things that you can consider when you're starting to go online is start with what's comfortable, start small, right? If you're just doing the one product, let's just do the one product. Let's know what size it needs to be shipped in. Let's know what systems and what packing paper and like what style you want it to be. But just start with in-store fulfillment. So that's what I continue to do. I don't do any drop shipping. I don't have any fulfillment centers. But if you have it on store and it sells online, you package it up right in the store and you put it in the mail, or you ask the mail to come pick it up when you have sold a bunch of them. You're going to use carrier integrations on your website. There's all sorts of cool shipping apps that you can get. You get better rates, and so you can print the labels, you can schedule the pickups. It's all integrated into the system that you're likely going to choose. You can offer local pickup and delivery if you're like, I want them to buy online, but they want to come pick up. Like, you can do that. So you can say, hey, if you buy it, say I came to your store and I was like, oh, I love that shirt. And I know they only have one more left in my size. I know they're a boutique. It could sell and I can't get back there. So I'm going to order it online. And I'm like, I'm going to come next week. Can I just pick it up there so I don't have to pay shipping? And if you have that set up on your website, yeah, I can buy it at midnight. And then the next week I can go pick it up at lunch. And so there's ways for you to integrate the way that you do in-person business with online, and it will likely increase your sales for people like me who will be like, oh, I really did want that. Maybe I'll go get it now and just pay for it at 2 a.m. You can simplify your shipping with flat rate, like thresholds. So that's what I did on my wood flower business. Everything was a different size. Everything was custom. I didn't have a standard mailer, a standard box. Everything was a new size. And so what I ended up doing for my own platform, just to keep my head wrapped around, I ended up having a, $0 to $35 to ship this is going to be this much. 35 to 75 is going to be this much. 75 to 125 is this much. If you spend 125, I will ship it to you for free. Like, I was just like, I do not, if you're spending that much on my store, I will ship it to you, because that then increased the rates in which they bought that much on my store. And so I found that even when I was guessing what those rates would be, the more that I shipped, the more I could adjust my shipping. It ended up being about $9, I would say, and I would cover every shipping for $9. It was not difficult. And if it was more or less, I ended up doing really good, where if it was $9 and someone paid, or if they paid 9 and it was 7, maybe I made 2 extra bucks, but the next person, if they paid 13, it was really 16. I was off $1 overall, but it seemed to work out just fine. That's the method that I personally started with, and it seems to work for me. You can also integrate different shipping things. Like, we can talk more tech one-on-one sometime, and it's really cool. You can get exact to the penny where you're not going to have to do that if you have some standard sizes and weights. And you can scale later if you do need those fulfillment partners, but you don't have to worry about that yet. You just want to start, you want to get online, you want to fulfill from in-store, and just take the next step. Easy way to start is going to be to pick one product or service, pick one platform. So there's tons of platforms. I do have a few slides if we want to look at what those platforms are. I just ran a ChatGPT analysis, like, tell me about which ones are great. A platform is going to be something that's going to fit your business, your goals, what you need to do. And so not every platform is made the same. Not every business is made the same. You want to make a little match made in heaven with which platform you choose. You're going to upload one product, one photo, one description, and then you're going to start marketing. So marketing is a big part of online businesses, because people aren't just going to walk in but they might if you have good SEO and all the things, but that opens a whole marketing chat that we could go into a whole other day. And I would love to hear what Sarah is going to talk about with that and all of the things that they do to retain their customers. But sharing your links everywhere and letting people know about this new way that you're doing business, funneling them to what works for you, right? You don't have to say yes to what everyone else does. You have to make a system that works for you and tell them how you do business. And once you integrate that into the way you do business and you have processes and systems, you're going to see, very likely going to see growth if you're putting in the effort and you're following, what could happen. This is just another way to get more sales to your business. And I think it'll really be something good for your business. I haven't heard of anyone who goes online and just tanks and it's terrible and it's awful. It seems like it's always the opposite. So if you're excited and you want to do a one-to-one consult, if you need any help via my personal experience or via the SBDC resources, this QR code takes you to our register for a consult form. So because we are funded by the SBA, we do collect your information and we, have a little agreement that yes, this is confidential. Yes, I agree to work with you. And that's just kind of a confidential handshake to shake our hand and say, hey, I want to work with you. How's it going to go? And from then on, you're an SBDC client and you can work with anyone in the state. And you've unlocked a ton of resources just by being connected to us, to Vilas County Economic Development. And I would love to connect with you on LinkedIn. I'll throw it in the chat. And I would love to be a resource for you via email. Even if you aren't a client, I'm more than happy to chat with you. And I look forward to hearing your questions and all of the things.
Great, Andy, thank you so much. Great presentation. So there's a lot to unpack there, but I know that you can do it one-on-one with businesses, and we'll get into some of that. So I also want to just make a comment too that all of the services that are provided from the Vilas County Economic Development Corporation as well as the SBDC, we're all free of charge. So please feel free to reach out anytime. We're all here to help you, and we would love to do so. So with that, we want to transition now to local business owners who have really had a tremendous success with their online selling, and that is Tom and Sarah Zidek with Hooked and Tagged. So Tom and Sarah, I'm going to turn it over to you. Tell us first about your business and tell us your journey from, your brick and mortar to going online, and platforms that you use and how you've been successful with that.
I'm actually going to let Sarah start. She's better at explaining.
Okay.
So actually, Tom actually started on e-commerce first before we got our brick and mortar store. So we were kind of a little bit flip-flopped. He started it when he was a junior in college, and he actually started through Instagram first. He actually didn't have like a service or a product that he was selling just yet. He just wanted to share, his love for the outdoors, for hunting and fishing. So he was just kind of like a post page first, and then people was reaching out to him and asking him that, him like if he has any products, if he has any hats or anything like that. So he actually came out with his first hat, which is the walleye hat, and it did pretty well.
So, like every mistake was made in the book. So, so it's okay for you guys to make mistakes, start out small, and then obviously learn from your mistakes. Looking back at everything that I did in college, starting out, I'm like, wow, I would actually laugh at that now. I actually do laugh at it. Just starting out with a couple hats, a couple t-shirts and hoodies, and online. And
his first website that he used was Wix, actually, because Wix does have a free service for a website.
Wix. Now we use Shopify, which we're able to. There's a lot more analytics behind Shopify, which we've found.
Like Andrea was saying, just kind of finding a platform that works best for you. So obviously we have a few storefronts. So then we use Shopify because then it coordinates everything together, and it has a great inventory management for all of our stores. So we have Minocqua, Eagle River, and then we have our distribution center as well. So then that goes through our online. So it really helps us keep it all together instead of having to like redo inventory management multiple times if they don't talk to each other.
I guess we've just been able to scale through obviously online, word of mouth for sure. And then I did a lot of trade shows, which we still do today, B2C, so direct to consumer shows. So that's really helped us to scale as well. and that's helped us out a lot.
And also, depending on what your product is, we actually do a lot of wholesale as well. So that's a whole nother avenue of e-commerce that we utilize. About 25% of now is online and wholesale.
25% online, 25% wholesale.
Oh, so
collectively it's
50,
50%.
half of our business. It's definitely helps as well, especially if you do have a product you can wholesale. I highly recommend doing that. You can do a wholesale page within your website. It's very easy. Like Andrea said, you don't need to code anything anymore. Like the way websites run is actually already pre-built. You're essentially just choosing your theme, your colors, plugging in your pictures, your descriptions, and it's very easy. At first, don't get me wrong, especially if you have a little bit more products, it takes a little bit more time on the front part of it for your back end, meaning like uploading all your pictures, uploading all your descriptions and all of that. But then as soon as that kind of gets there, your inventory management, just everything just becomes a lot easier. And then you now can reach customer base that you never had before. So, and then she said, obviously promote yourself. So, post on your Facebook and Instagrams. Obviously there's new platforms like TikTok, depending on what your product is. And if you're savvy with that, Tom and I are still actually we're doing a little bit of that, but we actually also have a marketing agency that we work with that we hired just because we got to that point in our business that we wanted a little bit more help in that area. So that is also an option. I know there's a lot of local people that offer, even with these programs here, they can offer free marketing or maybe low cost marketing or
Suggestions.
just suggestions. And it really is super easy to kind of start. And it's very tedious at first, but then just posting on Facebook, posting on local groups, sharing your website, because then now you have an avenue of people can now reach your business that you didn't have before. And then there's a question, various platforms for selling and the pros and cons of each. Okay, so obviously there's so many website builders out there. There's so many people that build websites, but like we mentioned, we use Shopify and we like Shopify quite a bit. It just works well for us. Obviously the things that you want to look for in a website is, your credit card percentage, processing fees. Compare that with all the different websites, with Square, Shopify, with Wix, because they do differ. And a lot of times too, depending on your business, you can actually renegotiate those rates with that website supplier. A lot of people don't realize that. Sometimes in the beginning, when you're just starting, it's harder to do that. But once you're kind of, in it and you've been moving product, you can definitely renegotiate those rates as well. The pros and cons of each. Again, the pros, definitely reaching out to a new customer base that you didn't have before. Obviously the cons would just be making sure that
it lines up with your inventory.
Say if you have a storefront as well and you sold something in your storefront, but then you just got the order on your online store. So like if you're low, you have to be adamant about making sure that you're keeping track of that. So then as soon as it sells online, you go and pull it off your floor. That way you're not essentially selling it twice, because then you have to then contact the online customer, and then you have so many avenues. But even in that sense, like you can always offer something. So say that happens, you could say, oh, we don't have this, but we have it in this color instead, and I'll throw in a free decal for the inconvenience. You're always trying to upgrade their experience, so then they're always going to come back to you.
Yeah, I would say when you're putting in your inventory into your website, definitely think long term, especially if maybe you don't foresee adding a lot of products. You probably will eventually. So that's whether the SKUs that you use, which has really helped us. I can actually go get that real quick.
And also just to connect back with the shipping. So Shopify actually has its own shipping as well. They do their own rates. You can connect your own like UPS or FedEx, but actually they provide a lot of really good rates already, because then they're using their own platform to get better rates for that, like you as their customer. And then you could just print labels directly from Shopify, it's very easy. You just get like a label maker from Amazon, and it's very easy to do that.
Yeah, so like some of the SKUs that we have, so like you can see on it's probably backwards, but it says BK and then TN, which we know just looking at this box means buck tan, which is this hat for us. But then we're always like upgrading things that we do now too. So like we're adding a different build of hat that doesn't necessarily look like this. You know, it may not have the mesh in the back. So we're trying to distinguish how we would write that now on the box as well. So now there's different codes that we're gonna put in on our box before the BK. For example, now this product will be labeled C12-BK-TN. This will give us the code that it's this type of build of hat, because now we're adding different builds like flat bills or full cloth hats. We're getting youth hats as well in. So we're just adding a bunch of different variants of like maybe say the same patch in the front, but the hat is different.
Essentially what he's saying, like it's an easier way to process your products,
Yeah.
to make sure like online.
So all these hats right here, just by looking at the front, we know exactly what's in all of
Yeah.
the boxes. So that's something
And that's
that,
a must too, for sure, to try to make this plan before,
right.
because then if you don't,
Yeah.
and then you have a lot more products, you're going to be kind of like,
This
going
may
a little
seem
crazy.
small, but getting this organized will help you be a lot more efficient.
so hopefully that answered your questions about the platform and the shipping. Honestly, we have loved Shopify. There's the little issues here and there with them, but they're pretty great at getting everything resolved, especially if you have a lot of products.
Clover too for like food.
Yeah, depending
For
on what
food as
you
well.
have, it all depends on what product you have, right? I know Andrea said ChatGPT, it's a great tool for sure. So you could plug in like, hey, what website supplier can I use for this type of product? And then it'll, pop it in. But Clover
Suggest
for
it, yeah.
food management, or if you have like a food service type,
For us,
has
yeah.
been good, obviously, because we own the frozen yogurt shop in town too, and we use Clover for that. So that's separate. And they do also offer like online ordering or shipping or delivery as well, that you can utilize in your platform there as well.
Yeah, both organizations or companies offer add-ons too. So you can add different
Yes.
apps that suit your needs as well.
There is a plethora of different ads, and it can be a little intimidating at first or overwhelming.
There's a million different add-ons you can use.
But again, it's just start super basic, just sign up for a website, because then again, you're creating an avenue, and make sure that you're like Andrea said, put the time and the effort into it in the beginning, in the front end, because you want to make sure that your website looks sharp. You don't want to make sure that it's like just overbearing or too cluttered, because obviously you want it to be aesthetically pleasing, because that's also what sells, is just the way that your website looks. We actually just redesigned our website. I think it was last year.
Yeah.
We just completely redesigned it just because of what was more popular
Just give
and
it a
trending
facelift.
now.
Yeah. User friendly.
So honestly, an idea that you could do is that depending on your product, just go and type in that product on Google and then visit all the different sites that pop up. So then you can kind of get an idea of what kind of theme those people have used, especially if it's like a more well-known product.
Theme means like the overall layout of the website.
Yes, colors, the layout, with the way the pictures, the descriptions land on, and then you can kind of gauge like, okay, this is what's been used before, and obviously if it's a more well-known company, you can know that it's working fairly well. Definitely utilize Facebook. Instagram is okay. It just depends.
For us, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's not all across the board.
Thank you for that. So what we did is, like on Facebook, we connect and then just keep posting on Facebook, keep making videos. Like Andrea was discussing about the identify your top customers. That's such a great tool that you can use. I've actually been seeing a lot of people running ads doing that exact thing. So where they'll like identify their top customer, and then they call that customer and they like record themselves doing that, and they turn that into an ad. And then it's just a great way to
yeah, we're definitely going to do that. So not only will you
Yeah.
get content for your social media, but now you'll also be rewarding people at the same time. So we're definitely going to do that for sure.
And then it just like encourages people obviously to continue shopping with your store.
Also too, one thing that we've been doing this year is giving people, so when they come to your store, being able to reconnect with them or get another order with them online later in the year, or maybe later that week or when they get home. So you're also hitting them twice, which we actually don't have any with us
We-
right now. We have on
got
reorder,
rid
but
of,
basically
yeah.
it's a 4x6 card, like a postcard, 4x6 card. So we're sliding this in with their in-store orders or when people
Online.
order with us online. But if you don't have an online store yet, well, you need to, obviously. But once
That's
you
the
get
point
that,
of this
once you
call.
get that set up, this is how an easy way of taking existing customers and converting them online as well. So what we have now, what we're doing this year is a 4x6 card. The front of it has a picture of Sarah and I and our two kids in front of the store and said, our taglines, what we're about: faith-based, family owned, Northwoods established, hookedandtag.com. And in the back, it says, thank you for shopping with us. Here's 10% off your next order. Use code SHOP10, QR code for our website. And then underneath it says hookedandtag.com. Great way for you to take pre-existing customers and try to convert them online as well.
To be a repeating customer.
You don't have to capture their email or their phone number. It's just, there it is.
But speaking of that, actually, you can also put
Right.
on like apps on your website where you can capture people's emails. Like it'll pop up and it'll say, get 5% off your next. Every single
Or your
company
or
I
your
know.
point of sale as well.
You guys can see it too. Every website that you go on now, it'll say, put in your phone number and your email for 5% off. Like it is a great tool because then when you do marketing from email marketing or text message marketing, you can touch those people as well. And that's a great way to get returning customers. Also, Shopify, obviously with whatever platform you
giving them
use,
receipt.
this is like our packing slip that we use. So then it'll print off whatever they ordered. That's how we then pull it. But we still, and will always continue to do this, we handwrite on every single packing slip. We just handwrite a thank you. What we say is thank you for shopping small. Dustin, the name, whatever. We hope you enjoy. God bless, with a smiley face. So that's what we do on every single one of our notes. And that little thing that we do is just a small thing, but we have gotten so many people to compliment that. We get messages, comments, reviews just based on that specific thing that we do. I don't know, like everybody likes to receive a handwritten note, and so that it
Personalizes it.
sets you apart from your competitors, and then it personalizes it like, oh
Yeah, you're
they
not just
actually-
another customer or whatever
yes,
kind of thing.
every single one. So that's just a little touch that you can do, especially for online.
Yeah, so your in-store POS system too, you can also capture those emails and phone numbers as well.
Yes.
So it doesn't have to be just online. So you're trying to convert the in-store customers to your website. So you can say, hey, you just ordered now. If you put in your phone number or email, I can email you a code or text you a code for 10% off your next order if you put in your information now.
That was my question. How do you transition those walk-ins, the brick and mortar walk-ins, to your online?
Honestly, you can also too, if people don't buy anything, you can also hand them a card too and say, hey, I know you're in our store. Obviously you might have to have somebody specifically doing this, but if you're busy in store, you may not be able to hand everybody a card that goes in and walks out, but you can hand them a card as well
with your website
and say, hey, I know you were just in here. Appreciate you coming in. Here's a card. If you're ever interested in shopping with us online or checking us out again further in the future, here's for 5 or 10% or 15% off. Thanks for coming in or whatever.
Yeah. For us, like what we do with our POS system is that if they want a receipt, it can text or email, and then there's a little sentence in the bottom where they can check or uncheck to receive email or text message marketing. Yeah. So that's
they can
how
opt in. Yeah, they can opt in. Yeah.
We actually have gathered quite a bit of emails or phone numbers directly from that as well.
Yeah, so you can kind of sway people into opting into that by offering them a free goodie to opting into promotional emails or texts. So what we like to do is give them either a percentage off, or we give them a couple stickers or whatever we have like on discount that we want to kind of just liquidate, so we can push people to opt in for promotional stuff by offering them free goodies as well.
Also, what we've done too, when we first started that, like being able to capture people's emails or reviews, because Andrea mentioned earlier too, obviously another powerful tool that you can have is reviews. So especially with your online company, especially if you have a storefront as well, and then you have it in
Or
Facebook or
Apple
Google or
Maps.
Apple Maps,
Yeah.
have all your family, have all your friends, have people like say, hey, we'll give you a free decal if you leave a 5-star review. And then so we've actually gotten quite a few reviews from being able to do that, and that is such a powerful tool for sure. And then we actually use a add-on, it's called Reputon Reviews.
Yeah.
So what that does is every single person that has an online order from us, it'll actually send them an email directly after that saying, hey, did your order go well? How did it go? Rate us, please. So then if they do like 5 stars or whatever, then it'll direct them to our Google stores or our Facebook store. So then they can leave a review that way. If they had a bad experience, it'll actually email us instead of posting that right away, and then we can have that time to then be able
To make it right.
to make it right with them. And that's actually a huge, like, obviously sometimes some people are just rotten, but a lot of the times too, like if we make a
Oh,
mistake
man,
or
it's
whatever,
funny.
like if you now have that opportunity to save that customer, and then they'll be a customer for life depending on how you handle it. We always try to go above and beyond, especially if it was our fault. Some people,
Yeah. Sometimes you can't win them all,
you
though.
can't win them all.
Can't win 'em all,
We have
remember that.
learned that. It's just another way that you can definitely have a good connection and good touch with those people.
Yeah. So I'll show you just real quick, like on our Facebook page, if that wants to. I don't know if you guys can see that, but
It's hard.
if you scroll down, you can see eventually on one of those lines it says 217 reviews at 100% rating. So that really helps.
Yes.
If anybody's like, is this a scam or are these people for real? Then you can always point them towards your reviews, or if they see that, obviously.
And so then we have that on our Facebook, and then we have it on both of our locations for Eagle River and Minocqua.
Yeah, and Google Maps and Apple Maps too. So like if we want to put more reviews towards a certain area, then we can also direct people to leave us a review on whatever,
Mhm.
on Google, Apple Maps, or Facebook review. Or
So
yeah.
utilize the website. They have such great opportunities here and connections. If you guys have any questions, it's really not that intimidating. It just takes a little bit of time in the front of things. Highly recommend it. It will transform your business if you put that time into it. If you just kind of do it, very lightly or not as much, put that time and energy and effort into it, that's going to show. And then it's going to be hard to get customers to purchase from you. Like, you got to make sure, obviously, you're doing it well, represent your product the way that you want, your customer base to see it.
The question here is, how long have you been doing this? Our Eagle River location was 5.5 years ago, and then Minocqua, I believe, was 3.5 years ago. Roughly for at least 5.5 years, dealing with the storefront, converting people in store to online. And the learning curve was honestly seeing what works and what doesn't work. That's how business wisdom comes about. Like, obviously talking to other people, connections, obviously doing learning groups like this,
Exactly.
and talking with other people, what works for them, what doesn't. Obviously, like we just learned here, now we're going to identify our top customers and record that and give them gifts and little goodies. Like, I think that's something great to do. So we're always learning and trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work. Obviously, everything that you try is probably not going to work on the first go around. It may, and if it does, great, keep doing it. If it doesn't, then just learn from it and keep moving along.
You guys, do you have any data in terms of your number of repeat customers that you have?
So it's kind of hard to figure that out, because if they use a different credit card or if they pay with cash,
Oh, sure.
obviously
You can't get the
you can't
100%.
necessarily track that. But our repeat customer rate, which would be on our website,
Returning customer rate, we're at about 15%. And we're up actually 30% from last year. So that's pretty cool.
and then last year our conversion rate was around 2%, which online, if you're around the 2-ish percent, then you're looking pretty good.
Right.
You want to be around that, like 2%.
I think the other part of this question too is touch on how your learning curve was after a certain amount of time spent to get your online presence up and running.
Oh, time spent to get our online presence. I don't think that ever stops, honestly. I mean, you always have to be posting and trying to connect with people, and yeah, you have to be online all the time. So I don't think that necessarily stops. I think if anything, if it's only you, that it's like a full-time job.
There's so many things that you can do. You can record yourself, packing orders. You can do, a lot of people say like, oh, message me if you want us to pack your order or something like that. So there's so many different things that you can do that kind of will create that hype behind online orders. Honestly, just even just looking up on ChatGPT for ideas and stuff, and that they could definitely do that. We haven't utilized that as much, but we should for sure. But
You know what inspires me about both you, Tom and Sarah and Andy, is that you're small business owners that have young families and you're doing it all, and you're figuring it out along the way. And I think that is really inspiring. And as you said at the beginning, you're gonna make mistakes along the way, and that's okay. But look at all the resources that are here to help you. So for anyone online or anyone who's watching this on YouTube in the future, there's resources, there's neighbors, there's Tom and Sarah, there's Andy, there's us. So there's other resources that our other colleagues that we work with, that we can all be of help. But it's exciting because I think people are starting to see that transition of the brick and mortar to online, to all the help that AI is providing everybody. So we want to make it easy. We want to make our environment welcoming to business, welcoming to tourism. And so we're all here to help with that. And again, Tom and Sarah, you guys have done such a fabulous job with this. You've really committed to it. You have some help along the way with it, which is great. In terms of Andy, talk about a little bit just before we leave here about the staffing. Do you need to assign, for example, a staff person in your business to help with this, a dedicated person to monitor this throughout the day, the weeks?
I would say it kind of goes back to my comment that I put right at the top, where I think Sarah was touching on, oh, we were able to hire a marketing agency to help us with all of these things. Like, if you have an abundance of money and you need more time, that's a great trade-off to make, is like, I don't need to be staffing this and having a person do this unless it's going to help grow my business. But if you are lacking the money and you have the time, then it's really nice to be able to put that time in and get the return on your sweat equity, essentially. For me, I found joy in doing online sales, the marketing, the setting it up, the having control, the doing the design, making it look pretty. I liked doing that and I was built up by doing that. But I have loads of colleagues, friends, business besties who hate it. It drains them, it pulls it out of them. They don't want to touch it. And so I would say everybody's unique and individual. So if it's building you up and it's something that you want to learn and you want to do and you are enjoying it, I'd say keep continuing to do it yourself. If it is something that is a time suck and it really hurts, like if it's like pulling teeth, that is when it's a really good idea to decide how to outsource, whether it's through a virtual assistant, some, fractional help, asking somebody for some DIY assistance. You can go online and hire someone to do like a Fiverr or a Upwork.com. Like, there's some different places that you can find some contract workers for certain tasks. But I don't think that it's required to have assistance with this. But when you get to the point where you guys are at, Sarah and Tom, where it's like, we were able to hire because the business is going to grow and they have other things to do, like, you want to operate in your zone of genius. And so if your zone of genius is not in this stuff, then find a way to outsource wherever possible.
Thank you. So in the last, few minutes that we have, Tom and Sarah, Andy, any final comments from you at all?
just because of the location that we're in, since we're so seasonal, I think having an e-commerce type of platform is so important for every single business. It's so helpful to kind of get you through, the winter months, or, sometimes those winter months can be 6, 7 months long, so they can be very long. So highly recommend putting the time and energy and effort into creating a website. There are so many wonderful resources like Kathy was stating. It's 100% worth it for sure. Sometimes it's a lot of work in the front end, but it'll be worth it for sure.
Andy?
Yeah, I want to empower all of you who are here to kind of consider yourself in this like greater good of this economic impact, because that's been one of my favorite parts of this role is thinking of even the bigger picture of like if you love where you're from. And like I love how you said, Sarah and Tom, how you're like Northwoods established and like homegrown. Like these are your like roots. And so if you really feel those roots, what a better place to evangelize about Eagle River, about Vilas County, about your local area, and bring people to you and build everybody up. Like I'm a big proponent of that saying where like when the tide rises, all the ships rise with it. And so if you guys could raise the tide and have an awesome online presence, because there's not just one awesome business, there's 50 awesome businesses. They all have an online presence. Oh my gosh, this looks like a great place to go. It just is a really good way to positively affect everybody by just doing you, staying in your lane, like be your best self, put it out there, toot your own horn. We're not good at that here in the Midwest or in the Northwoods, but really lift yourself up and you're going to find other people want to join you and you all rise together. So I think that's a really good takeaway for today.
Great way to end this, Andy. So, on behalf of the Vilas County Economic Development Corporation and our sponsor, Associated Bank, just Tom and Sarah from Hooked and Tagged and Northern Joy, thank you so much for joining us today. Fabulous information. Congratulations on all your success. Andy Gretzinger from the SBDC at UW Stevens Point, great resource. They've been a great partner with us. So, contact me at the VCEDC or Andy directly. We're all here to help you. In any event, mark your calendars for our next Lunch and Learn, which will be on Thursday, October 9th. Boost your business on Google for free. And we'll have an instructor from Nicolay College with us for that one. So in the meantime, thanks again for joining us and have a great day.